77th birthday.
Mm.
But before meeting Mlungisi, I'd actually been involved with South African jazz for, since the mid to late 90s when I left school. It was immediately South African jazz that attracted my attention. I can say Winston Mankunku was possibly one of the first shows that really stretched my imagination. Although, you know, I'd seen Sipho Gumede before in Durban. Durban had quite a vibrant scene whilst I was still at school in the mid-90s. But coming to Cape Town with seeing Winston Mankunku at the Yellow Door in the Kraal.
Oh, man.
Yeah, in Gugulethu, that was quite an inspiring moment to see what jazz can do, how much joy it can bring to people, and also to oneself, how you can just let go of everything and enjoy the moment for what it is. So since then, it's been a long journey to this point, and as you know, we're so blessed to have this international meeting. You know, this suddenly it's you see that this message of joy and upliftment is a worldwide.
It is. Yeah. So with you, when did you, in fact, starting the music, you know, maybe from listening or from at home, from the friends around, when did you become interested in music other than just playing? Because I know you're a mean trumpet player too. Just your interest in music before the Yellow Doors and meeting all these other people, you know, how did that happen?
Well, that's actually quite a deep story, because it's really a medical situation with me. You know, I had a medical illness and I really required a lot of healing.
Sure.
And I think that's brought a change of life, and really music suddenly was an integrative force. You know, before I'd experienced music on the radio, but actually leaving school, needing a lot of personal healing, and then just seeing the power of music, it really did happen in that integrative community kind of way. And that's why, you know, you mentioned the trumpet. That's a perfect example of the healing power and also the community, because I studied at Ukusa Music Outreach School. I don't know. No, you know Ukusa?
No.
Out at UKZN. And it's really amazing to also start learning at a community level. You know, where it's really the healing and the power of the community. That's something that took me there.
Yeah. Cool, man. Then you grew from there until you met up with the greats, as you've mentioned, Winston Mankunku and others. That journey now, starting from, you know, the healing that you're talking about, because you needed to heal, and then you met up with these great musicians, Winston Mankunku, the inspiration that came from them, how did they impacted, how they impacted you?
Well, Mlungisi, that's what created the book series. I mean, it was so much inspiration from so many people and so many legacies that eventually I can say I was asked specifically by Sedumo Ngidi there at Stables Theatre in KZN, Durban. Beautiful theatre. Also lovely history there, you know. Kessie Govender founded it, and another community center, real jewel, a lot of wonderful artists there. And I think this was the driving moment, because Sedumo kind of said, the story needs to be told. Our story needs to be told. So that was about 2012, and the book started coming from then. So the inspiration can't really be put into one word, except maybe far-reaching. It was far-reaching. So many musicians. I mean, the lists are endless, and as we're seeing now with these events, you know, there's so many unsung heroes as well that have contributed and passed on.
Now there's this big international community, if I could call it that has developed, you know, over the years up to what we are doing, that especially what we are going to do at the end of the year on the 17th, 16th, and the 17th of December. How did that all come about? How did that because it started in Johnny was still alive, right, when the jazz apartheid was established.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He performed at the opening festival.
Which year was that?
1986.
1986.
But I think how it came about was really it was the cultural activist Jürgen in Germany, and he was aware, the Blue Notes were very culturally active. There was an Artists Against Apartheid movement already in Sweden. And I know Johnny was in exile in Sweden at some time, as was Fifi Cladi.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think Jürgen wanted to do this event in Germany in specific. I think Germany also has strong history of resistance as well, and particularly Frankfurt. And he had a cultural activism organization. He saw Johnny Diani performed and immediately reached out to him, and he said, I'll partner with you in making this project happen. They did the first show together, and I believe this is when Johnny Diani fell on stage, and he passed away shortly afterwards. And I know Peggy Leswazi was at that concert, so I was blessed to have returning exiles like Pussy to return his memory. But what really happened was it was his band members, particularly people like Makai Nshoko and Harry Beckett and John Chikai. Those three names come up a lot if you speak to Daniel and Claude, who were there from the start. But it appears that they continued to perform Johnny's repertoire of music. This was then passed on to Daniel and his generation of musicians. That was in the early 90s. Alan was living in Frankfurt, the trombone player.
Yes.
And there were all musicians that started to join the project, and Christopher Dell, who will come this year. That was possibly in the early 90s. Yeah. And that's when I see that the South African exiles still living there, and these compatible musicians from the UK and the German musicians started joining. And I see Makai is a strong part of this, and Claude Depp is a strong part of this. Thomas Diani, you see, was also performing at some times. So it's also a strong part of this development. But that's how it came together. Now, how it came to the Eastern Cape is another story, because it had been going for over 30 years in Germany, and then Vusi put the project forward to the OR Tambo committee, and they granted Jürgen with the award, a very prestigious award for his role in the struggle against apartheid. A very successful role. So Jazz Against Apartheid was brought into the limelight in South Africa for the first time, and that triggered immediately, well, it must come to South Africa. Ideally, it's a project that needs to go into all the universities nationwide. And I think we're gearing towards that.
It should.
But in the immediate term, and the urgency to bring it back, of course, Johnny Diani was at the center. And his home, Duncan Village, Eastern Cape, that became the location. And people like Peggy Leswazi, former Ambassador Sobizana, they made it abundantly clear that this event was an Eastern Cape event. So that's where we came to Eastern Cape.
Yeah. Wow, man. It came at the right time. Because now there's quite a lot of things that have developed. As we've noticed last year when we were doing the project, there are quite a lot of young people that have came to the workshop. So those are the people that we really, really need to, pass this message through. These are the ones, the young people that has to know what happened, who did what. There's these kinds of projects that are happening, and they're happening not just only in South Africa, they're happening around the world. So that will also create opportunities for them as well to experience, what is happening outside, especially with the people that have history about Johnny and other people, because that's where they spend most of their lives, especially their adulthood life. Johnny left as he was 17 years old, and then Mlungisi'Sir first and all of those guys. So that's why I'm saying it really, really, really came at the right time. As I've mentioned, that even all the universities, they're supposed to study this. They're supposed to study this. so that everybody knows, the next generation that comes knows about this kind of a history. You know, I did, as you know, that in 2013, I did a tribute to Johnny, you know, at the Joy of Jazz in Johannesburg. I couldn't find the drummer that was available who played with Johnny, you know, but there was a guy that I called. He really wanted to come to South Africa for a long time, even paid for his ticket. And I thought, okay, there's an opportunity for him to come, but also to learn about Johnny, because it's nice. It's good when we teach other people from other races or other genders or other people that lives in different countries, you know, to know about this history. This is a very important history.
Yes, that is amazing. And also, you know, you're probably aware that Herbie did a tribute recently at the
Yes, at
Joy
the
of
Joy of
Jazz.
Jazz this year,
So,
yes.
so these
Yeah.
are growing. And also, you know, you
Sure.
mentioned the community centers in Queenstown and your own community group and initiatives in education. And then Gezi Feza, the Machikiza brothers.
Sure,
you know, there
sure.
are so many legacies to bring forward. And I think the Eastern Cape really is a central place for the birth of these talents. So
Sure,
absolutely, the more we know, you know, the more we can do as a people, you know, and the more we can break the boundaries and the barriers. And that's the important thing about all these musicians we've spoken about, is that they're very strong in these principles of liberation. You know, they really stand for doing the right thing. All these musicians, and that gives you a certain power to be able to break through the boundaries, like Duncan Village, Sophia Town, Cato Manor, New Brighton. All these centers, District 6, have produced such incredible talent, and it's so great to see now to be learning more about Duncan Village. Pinisi Saul, I mean, that's brilliant what Sipakazi's just done.
Yes, it was a beautiful project. Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of thing that Johnny Diani just happens to be a leader in, because he had 40 years of these musicians playing his music. You know, so that's transcribed, it's available to be taught. But in my opinion, we can learn from everybody.
Sure. We need to speak to people that are in power to open these doors. I mean, look, everything is there. The only thing that is it's missing for me, that's just my opinion, is to open these doors, especially with people that are in power, you know, that could open. Like, for example, we don't have an art center in Queenstown anymore. It's been vandalized. You know, we've tried to save it. You know, we've tried to save it even before that happened. We had numerous meetings last year with the department so that we can be able to, because it was closed because of the lockdown, the COVID-19 lockdown. It was closed. And then now when everything was eased, you know, and then we said, look, you know, we need to bring the artists to come and do what they do here, you know, open up. But they resisted, if I could be blunt. They didn't want to do it. They came up with reasons that we couldn't even believe it. Anyway, that's fine, because the point that I'm raising, these kinds of initiatives, they're gonna have to go to different communities. It's, you know, because I mean, you mentioned Port Elizabeth. That's where Dudu Pukwan and some other guys. I mean, there was a group, if it's still not there, because I mean, most of the guys have passed on. The Soul Jazzmen, you know, Nick Moyake, they come from there. Dudu Pukwana comes from there. There's still a lot of other artists, you know, that made a mark. Tete Mbambisa, although he was with Johnny Jani from Duncan Village, but he lived in PE, played with the soldiers, man. So these are kind of messages and education that needs to go to different areas. Cape Town, Louis Moholo is still alive. You know, we need to take this, but it's just that most of these doors are closed, as much as they even closing the financial side of it, because these things, they also need to be financially supported. So we're having those kinds of challenges. Hey, man, Straun, we only have 4 minutes on my clock. Jesus, man, this.
Mlungisi, well, we've got a lot of time, because there are a lot of legacies to unfold and a lot of doors to open. But just to put it very clear, is that the Freedom Charter says the doors of learning and culture shall be opened. Now, that's not a negotiation. You know, and this is where the true power resides. You know, jazz against apartheid. They said jazz fights the struggle and wins. You know, it happened. That's a true power resides in this expression for freedom. So I think no matter what, it's going to happen, and I'll be grateful to see it happen in our lifetimes. You know, even though it didn't happen in Johnny's lifetime, we can be sure now, having seen his music played, having seen people all over the world, that, you know, he stood for a dream that, you know, we're still fighting for. We're still fighting for that dream of being together. I think we're getting there. Those doors are slowly being opened and swinging open, and just sharing and doing what we're doing, community coming together. It's irresistible.
Look, for me, I really thank you for coordinating this. I mean, it was not for you. I don't know. Maybe it could have, but I mean, ever since I've met you, you've been right up front with this. You've been leading this South African project, especially on this one. I know there are quite a lot of others that you've done, but with this one, with the man who has been in front, and for me, I really do appreciate that. And I've said to you before, I'm here. If there's anything that you want me to do, I'm here. I'm just a phone call away from you. Then we can make it happen. We can make it happen. You know, this time we're leading the project of the Eastern Cape, myself and Sakila. Let's hope that there's something out that will inspire us to move forward and create more, you know, opportunities, because this is all about opportunities as well, giving the young people a chance, you know, to know about what was happening, you know, the days of the apartheid from 1964 when they left. They left in 1964, right?
Yes.
From 1964 until they died. Monges was the first guy who died, you know, until now. Because, I mean, look, Louis Moholo is still alive. So Blue Notes are still alive. Even if Louis Moholo is not around, but Blue Note will still alive. Johnny Jani's music and his legacy will still be alive.
What a blessing. What a blessing and an honor to work with all of you. You know, it's really opened my eyes. I'm also so grateful.
Yeah, thank you, man. Your last word, my brother. We'll do it again some other time. So we'll do it some other time.
Well, I think it's in Bizo. My last word is in Bizo. You know, Johnny and Bizo Diani's brought such a wonderful gathering, you know. And many blessings to the Mbizo. I don't know how he got the name, what it stands for, but it's very significant.
Mbizo, it's a gathering. It's like people, like, it's the same Mbizo. I mean, when people are together.
That's how I met Winston Mankunku at his Mbizo.
Yes,
to give thanks for the Yakal. I mean, the his album in 2000. Molo Africa. Molo Africa.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to this year. It looks like it's going to be much bigger than last year. We have two sets, one international and one Eastern Cape band. Man, it's going to be nice. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Thank you, my brother, man. Take care and have a good day. If we don't talk, we're gonna meet on the other thing is the traveling, man. Sakila wants me there on the 15th, which is I would love to be there on the 15th for the rehearsals. But because of this station, I have to be here. And also, you know, the accommodation, of course, I mean, I do have two accommodations, which is the 16th and the 17th. I can organize for the 15th, but I'll speak to him and see if I could be there on that day of the 15th for the rehearsals.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
It's going to be so nice to spend time.
Sure. Cool, my brother. Take care.
Okay, blessings. Thank you.
Cool, man.